Hey everyone, it's Laura. Thank you for joining me. And let me just straighten up my camera here a little bit. And let me see if anyone's joining in. Let's just take a minute. Hi Tammy, how are you? Good to see you. Or not see you, but you know what I mean. Hi Jean. I'm just gonna wait a minute and let a couple other people join on. Had a little technical difficulty there at the beginning, but hi Tanae. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. So I have some fun things to show you. Wait, you know what? Hold on one second. I gotta do. Okay. Hi, Jean. All right. First, I'm going to start by pulling a winner, another winner from my jar here. This is for my making a beeline to my $1 million in career sales, which is very, very exciting. And I have this whole big thing of orders here. I've written people's names down, and I'm going to go ahead and just pull a name. And let's see who won. Okay, and it was Pam. So Pam, hi Marsha, hi Candy. Pam Morosco, you have won a $100 shopping spree. And so that is very, very exciting. I think Pam is probably at work today, but I know she'll be excited about that. So the special that I'm offering is going to end on Wednesday, the last day of September. And if you order $50, your name will be added to my jar, added to this jar, and I'll probably draw one really cute cards that I'm going to show you today, and these are fall themed. And the first one features the beautiful autumn stamp set and the paper that is from that bundle as well. I think it's called Beautiful Autumn. And this is a Starburst card. I'm going to just show it to you at first. And I had made one of these before when we had the Ornate Garden Suite when it first came out, and I just thought I would do another one in these fall colors. It was really popular, and so I thought, why not do another one? So to start out, you need, I would say, at least 4 2-inch by 6-inch pieces of Designer Series paper, and you will be cutting, I'm going to bring my paper trimmer in, and you're going to be cutting these on the diagonal. So what I do is just rest one corner on the track there, and then the opposite corner is going to be up there right on the cutting track. And I'll just make sure that those are right where I want them to be, and I'll just cut like that. And you need to do that with all of your paper. So it's 2 inches by 6 inches, just cut on the diagonal. So I'm going to set my paper trimmer down, and I have already cut some paper just to save a little time. And I'm going to be building my sunburst on, or starburst, I guess you could call it, on a piece of very vanilla cardstock. It is 4 1/4 by 5. And what I like to do is score this at 2 5/8. That's the halfway point of the 5 1/4 length. So I'm going to go ahead and score that. Now you could take a pencil and just make a light line there, but I just think it's easier to score it. It's not going to show. It doesn't matter how you do it, but you need to mark that up. That's just going to help everything kind of get lined up the way you want it to be. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and just make one strip with my seal. And like I said, I have already cut some patterns, and this paper is so gorgeous that you could use any of these patterns, and you could do it every other one if you want to just use 2 of the patterns, but I actually used almost one of each of the patterns. And so what I'm going to do is take my first piece, and it's going to be positioned right on that score line. And that kind of sets the base for the rest of the papers that I'm adding. And you know what? I'm going to move this up a little bit because, as you can see, my paper's narrower at the bottom, wider at the top, and so I want to be sure that I can get enough strips of paper on each half that I'm going to just kind of keep them sort of narrow. Okay, so I'm going to add another little strip of adhesive there. Okay. And then next up is going to be this one, and you can either butt them up right against each other or leave a small little space, and I think this time I'm going to put them right against each other. So what I think I'm going to do is take my adhesive and go real close to the edge, as close as I can possibly get, so that all these pieces are going to stick. Whoops. Okay. So this will be the next one. And like I said, I'm going to butt these up, and I'm going to move this so that the narrower part is going to be on the front of the card, and the bigger, wider part is going to be kind of towards the top. That way I can get more patterns in there. And then I guess I'll do this one next. And again, I'm going to butt them right up against each other. And then I just need a little piece for here. This is a really cute acorn pattern, and I can just position that so that that leaf is going to be right there on that corner. So that's the first half. And then for the other side, basically I'm doing the same thing. I have different patterns, and I'm going to go ahead and just add my adhesive now to this panel. What am I doing here? Sorry, a little technical difficulty there. There we go. I think that other one was actually empty. Need to get a refill. Okay. So we're going to go along here. Again, I'm going to try to get close to the edge, especially when I have more of a little pattern. Okay. And I'm going to start with this. And again, I'm going to try to match it up at the bottom so that the widths are the same, but you really don't have to. It's pretty forgiving. So I'm going to position that there. Take the next one. I agree, Marcia. This paper is just beautiful. It has the gold and the copper in it, and I agree. It's, oh, hi, Owen. How are you? Hi, Colleen. Hi, Erica. Okay, and then this little houndstooth pattern. Put that next. And then my last one, and I'm just going to have that fill in the corner there. So there's that. It's almost like a big fan. Isn't it pretty? It does. It makes me think of a fan. So now I'm going to flip this over. Now, you could cut this with your paper trimmer, but I'm just going to quickly cut this off with my paper snips. And you know, the nice thing when you butt the different pattern papers right up against each other, it really doesn't matter what you use for your 4 by 5 1/4 piece. It's not even going to show. So you could use any color cardstock, any, you know, if you have an extra scrap from another project or something. Okay, so there it is, all trimmed up, and it's just beautiful, I think. And I'm going to turn it this way for my card front. Let me get those out of the way. Okay, and then I have I cut this from the Tasteful Labels dies. Let me show you those. This is a great set of dies. I find myself using it all the time, and this is the one that I use. This is a good basic, all different circles and rectangles and all kinds of different sizes, little for little words and that kind of thing. I love these. These are like little starbursts. Those have been a favorite of mine, but this is the one I use for this card. So that is the Tasteful Labels dies. They're in our annual catalog. And I'm just going to do a little stamping. Let's see, I'm going to be using Early Espresso ink and stamping My Heart is Grateful for You. And again, this is a photopolymer stamp set, so I want to use my adhesive or my Deluxe Foam Matte so that I have a little bit of a cushion. I'm going to go ahead and stamp this right about there, just centering it on that label. Okay, hi Sarah, my sister's watching. All right, and then I'm going to take some dimensionals and I will pop this up. And before I attach that, I'm going to take some ribbon, and this is sold together in a bundle with that sweet, I can't think of the name of it right now, but there's this really pretty woven green mint macaron and then this copper trim, copperish fun trim. The whole thing is like unwinding. Okay, so I'm just going to take a little bit of this and snip it off diagonally. And I'm going to fold this in half, and I'm going to tuck that just right on the corner of this little medallion. So to do that, let me grab my seal. And we'll just stick that on there like that. And I may try to catch it. As you know, sometimes I like to catch the edges of our ribbon with the dimensionals that kind of help to hold it in place. So I'm going to take the backs off of this, and I will put this right on my card front. And originally when I made this card, I had centered this focal point, but then I thought, I pulled it off and redid it because I thought it was kind of pretty down towards the bottom like this, because it shows more of that starburst. Then I'm going to take a little bit of this twine, and we have these adorable little acorns. They are the cutest thing ever. Look how cute they are. And I'm going to tie this, I'm going to just thread this through the hole of the acorn and then tie a bow. Like that. Hi Melanie, how are you? Yeah, Pam is Melanie's cousin, so okay. So we'll just fidget with this a little bit. I like to fluff up the bow a little bit, and I'll trim it, and I'll attach this with a glue dot. And before I do that, that's going to go right there. But before I do that, I'm going to pull in a piece of this designer paper. And the neat thing about this paper and the stamp set is that there are punches that coordinate with both. So I'm going to use, there's a set of 3 punches. There's an acorn, a maple leaf, and an oak leaf. And I'm going to use the maple leaf today. And I'm going to go, actually here's one right down here at the bottom. I'll just go ahead and punch that out. Makes it so easy. But there are stamps in these leaf shapes as well. And I'm going to just tuck that right there. And I will do that with, I'll tuck that in place with a glue dot. So we'll go ahead and pick that up. Hope you're all having a good day. It looks like it's going to rain here, so we really need it. I really hope that I hope it gets some rain. Okay, and then that's just going to tuck right in place right there. Like that. I love that ribbon with the twine and the little maple leaf there. Okay, now I'm ready to finish my card. So to put it together, I am going to use a very vanilla card base, and I wanted to do a thin layer of early espresso because I feel like it just kind of sets off all the paper, the designer paper that I used. I think it just kind of makes it pop. So if you leave a comment or share my Facebook Live today, your name will go into a drawing to win one of the 2 cards that I'm going to make. So if you're interested, leave a comment, share this. I would appreciate that. Okay. So this panel is going to go right on my card front. We'll just center it like that. And then I'm going to attach this, and I think I'll pop this up with dimensionals. Okay. Pull those backs off. And that's going to go just right on there. And my card is complete. So what do you think? I think that is I think what really makes this pretty is, of course, the gorgeous paper and the cute little acorn and the ribbon. I just think it's really pretty. So what do you think? Show me some love. Hi, Tracy. How are you? Thanks for joining. Tracy says beautiful fall colors. I agree. It kind of gets me in the mood for fall. So that's card number 1. So leave a comment and share, and next time I do a Facebook Live, I'll draw a name and somebody will get that card, and then I'll draw another name and someone will get the second card that I'm going to make. So the second card is one of the slimline cards, which you know I've made before, but I wanted to do another one today. And this one features the same designer paper, and I have the measurements for this card. I will be posting this on both of these projects tomorrow on my blog with a tutorial. But for the slimline card, this is cut 8.5 by 7, the card base, and then scored at 3.5. So I'll go ahead and grab my bone folder and get that scored real nice. I'm gonna set that aside a minute. And then I have a panel of Very Vanilla, and it is cut 8 by 3. That's going to be layered onto my card base. And so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to get that out of the way. This is really fun, a really fun technique, and I have all these little 1/2 inch scraps of paper, and they're just, some of them are just left over from other projects that I've done, and some are things I had to cut because I wanted, again, to get a good assortment. So I'm going to squiggle on some of my liquid glue, and I'm just going to start making my card. And I'm just going to lay all these strips on here in any different pattern, really no rhyme or reason. And again, I'm going to just fit them real close together. I'm going to start this way, and then I'm going to turn. And the nice thing about using this liquid glue when you're doing this is it gives you some wiggle room, so that if you don't get it exactly in the right spot, you can move it around. But look how pretty these colors are, and it's a great way to use up your scraps. No right or wrong. It's actually just fun. It's just fun. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna let me see what other patterns here I have. I think I'm gonna repeat this one again. Put that down. Here's I like to do both sides of the paper. Here's one that's not, it doesn't have any of the gold on it. This is called Gilded Autumn Specialty Paper. And like I said, it is beautiful. Here's like a houndstooth. We'll put that next. I'm gonna slide this down here because what I can do is when I go around and trim this, I can save some of these smaller pieces for the next time if I want to make another one of these cards. So now I just need, for the last piece, I just need a little one here. Okay, Then I'm going to start over on the other side and, whoops, stick into my paper. That's all right. So now I'm going to start and go, I'm going to put some glue on this side, and I'm going to go in a different direction. So let me go ahead. You want to be sure that you put your glue, you know, I always say a little dab will do you, but you want to be sure, especially that you want to get enough glue on there, and you want to be sure to put it around the edges so that the edge of the paper will stick. So I'm going to just start with this piece and layer it this way. It's kind of fun too when you do this because every card you make is going to end up a little bit different. Hi Myra, how are you? We miss you, Myra. Myra just moved, and she's one of my favorite people. Okay, so, oh, and I see my sweet little great niece Samantha is watching. So hi Samantha, how are you, honey? She's only 3 and she already likes to stamp. Okay, so again, you can see I'm just filling in with all these different patterns. It's just fun. Yeah, I'll do another green. And I just keep working and working to get it all filled in. And again, you can see how you can just push it into place. Excuse me. And then I just need a couple more. It looks like I need a little one for up here. I think I'll put that, you know what, and I need to put a little dab of glue there. This glue dries pretty quickly. Okay, so we'll put that there. And then I'm gonna just squiggle a little more on here just to be sure that it's gonna stick. Put that across there. So basically you're just filling in this whole piece. Let's see, what else haven't I used yet? Oh, I would probably just keep all of these scraps like in a little bag. And then when I want to make one of these cards, they'll be there all ready to go. And I'll just put that one right there. There's really no rhyme or reason. I'm not doing it in any particular pattern. It's just kind of what I think would look good. So there you have that. Look at that, isn't that pretty? So I'm gonna flip this over and snip off, oops, make sure that, you know what, I think I need to put another little dab of glue there. Make sure that's gonna stick. So I'm gonna start cutting on the other end to give that a little time to stick there. So we're just gonna trim this, and again, you could do this on your paper trimmer. And just trim all the excess off. It would definitely be quicker if you do it on the paper trimmer. But I'm just using my paper snips and following along on the edge. And then I'll flip it over and we'll see how it looks. Probably, ideally, what I should have done is, yeah, okay, so there we go. Probably what you want to do is glue it all and let it sit just for 2 or 3 minutes so that the glue has time to set. But look, I have all these extras for future projects that I'm going to do. I'm going to slide these out of the way. Put those over there. Okay, so here's part of my card. I think that's beautiful just like that. I mean, it almost doesn't really need anything else. But of course, I have a few things I'm gonna add. So this, I'm gonna layer this on a piece of mint macaron. I'm just pulling colors from the designer paper, and this is cut 8 1/4 by 3 1/4, so there'll just be a little bit of a border. So I'm going to get out I'll put my glue away and use my Stamp and Seal now to attach this. You know, I need to be careful because I can feel this sticking. I don't want to tear my paper. Okay. On that glue that's on there. Okay, so I get to put that there like that and just set that down. Let that all sit, and I am going to go ahead and set that aside for a minute while that dries. I'm going to do a little stamping. Oh, and I also have, this is an insert for the inside of the card. It also is cut at 8 1/4 by 3 1/4. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in real quick. And you could stamp on this. You could add maybe a little strip of the paper on the side, you know, something like that, or even flip it over. That would be cute on the side there. You could even do, you know, what would be really cute is to, let me find a good color, you know, like do something like this to carry on that diagonal from the front and before you attach it, and then trim that down. That'd be a cute way to do the inside. All right, so I'm going to do some stamping, and I am using the Autumn Goodness stamp set and the coordinating Autumn Wheelbarrow dies. And I'll tell you what my favorite part of this set of dies is, and that is the picket fence. I love that. I think it's so cute. And if you saw my Facebook Live, I think it might have been last week, where I did the Life is Beautiful stamp set, and I made that wintry card with the picket fence. It was just beautiful. Okay, so we have a busy day in the studio today. Sandra's here again helping me. She is working hard. We have all kinds of things we're working on. It's very exciting. So I'm going to start with the wheelbarrow. Go ahead and stamp that. And then on the, well, you know what, I think I'm going to see if that'll, yeah, that'll fit. Sandra, could you bring me that Life is Beautiful card, please? Yeah. I want to show you the picket fence because it's of course cuter if you see it in person, but I think if you, if I show it to you, I'm sure some of you saw me put it together. That gray and blue, the gray one with the picket fence. Thank you. Sandra has to try to read my mind, and poor thing. Thank you. Here it is. So this is the picket fence is from the wheelbarrow Autumn Wheelbarrow dies, and this is the Life is Beautiful stamp set, and I love that picket fence. I just think it's so cute. So that was that card. All right, so I've stamped these in my Tuxedo Black ink, and I'm going to color them in. I will be cutting these out with the dies, but what I find is it's easier to cut them out on it, or to color them on a bigger piece like this and then cut them out. So I'm going to use soft suede to color in the wheelbarrow. And I just like the bullet point, the fine point on the blends. I just feel like for me it's easier to control. There is a bigger brush tip, but I just always sort of go towards that bullet point. I'm just going to add some color. And again, you know, this is going to saturate the paper. You can see it coming through, so you want to be careful when you're coloring not to do it on a surface that will be ruined if you get some of this color on there. So just use a scrap of paper or something like that. Okay, so there's my wheelbarrow, and you can add, you know, some highlights here and there if you want. I'm going to add some up here towards the front. Like that. I'm going to leave that part black. Just, I guess, not colored, I should say. Okay, that's all I'm going to do for the wheelbarrow. And then for the flowers, Yes, Myra says she loves the fence. And hi, Pat, how are you? Good to see you today. Okay, so I'm going to start with, for my coloring of this, I'm going to start with light Cajun Craze, and then I also have dark pumpkin pie. So I'm going to start with these flowers. And I'm just going to add some color to these. If you haven't tried our blends, you have to. They are amazing. And I always say this, but it's true. They make you feel like you're an artist because you can just keep layering color upon color and they just blend beautifully. So I'm going to start with that. Catch a couple of these over here. Okay, put some there as well. And then I'm going to do the light Cajun Craze. And I'm going to do that with these little roses here, moms. Maybe they're moms, don't know. Just going to add some color to those. Okay. Maybe highlight. I think I'm going to add a little bit of darkness to the pumpkin pie flowers. Okay, that looks pretty good. And then I'm just going to use mint macaron, and I'm just going to use the dark. I originally had tried the using the light and the dark mint macaron, and it really, because these are so fine little leaves, I didn't think it really made that much difference. So I'm just doing these in one color, just the dark. And I'm just going to fill in right here. It looks like I missed part of that. Okay, so there's that part. And then what I did was I went ahead and used the dies, and I did cut them out already. I used the new magnetic plate that we have, and I will tell you, it is amazing. It is a solid magnet. It's self-healing, and you know, with our other magnetic plate, there was always that magnetic pole, especially when you're using like the smaller dies, they wouldn't stay in place. And with this, they completely stay in place. They don't move at all. So here are these that I've already gone ahead and colored. And so let me just show you how to put this together. I'm using the same shape from the Tasteful Label dies as I did on my first card. And I'm going to take, I just have a little stamping that I want to do. It says thankful, and I'm going to use the Early Espresso ink. And I'll just stamp that down there like that. And I'll go ahead and snip this with my paper snip. That's going to be at a little angle as well. Just a little word medallion there. Okay. And then to put this together, I'm going to start by attaching the wheelbarrow first, and that is not popped up. I'm going to leave that flat. And then the other thing that's so cute about these autumn wheelbarrow dies is the little wheel for the wheelbarrow. And I cut this out of gold foil, and I'm going to position that right under that base. So I'm going to pick that up with a glue dot, put that in place. And it's just going to go right under there like that. Is that not the cutest? I just love that. I just think it's so cute. I guess it doesn't take much to get me excited, but I'm going to put another little glue dot on the back of that. So there's that. And then for my flowers, I'm going to go ahead and pop those up. Before I do that, I cut a scalloped circle, and I'm going to go ahead and cut this in half. And then I'm going to position this half on top and half on the bottom. So we'll go ahead and do that. Okay. I'm just going to kind of center that. And then same thing on the bottom. Looks pretty good. Okay, then I'm going to add some dimensionals and pop this whole thing off the card front. And I'm not sure where my dimensionals went, but you know what, I'm just going to use these mini ones. They'll be just fine. Whoops. Those right there. Oh, here they are. You should see when you're doing these Facebook Lives, things just end up getting, no matter how careful you are, it just seems like things end up getting piled on top of each other. All right, so before, this has had time to dry now, so I am going to go ahead and attach this to the card front before I add all these other components of my card. And that's going to go on my Cajun Craze piece. Just going to center that on there. Then I'll add this piece. Take that backing off. Whoops, that one. Okay. And I'm just going to put that about right there on this side, like that. And then I'll add my flowers. I'm going to go right there, about like that. And for these, I'm just going to put a dimensional at the top because it will be held up by the rest of the wheelbarrow, that whole panel that's popped up. So I'm just going to put that in place about right there. And that'll be enough to hold that in place. And then I'm going to take a piece of the braided linen trib, which I love, and I'm going to tie a big bow, kind of a big loopy bow. Don't forget to leave a comment and share this. I would really appreciate that, and you'll be entered to win one of these cards. So this is kind of a big loopy bow, and I'm going to just tuck it under like that. I'm going to put this part under here as well, and that I'll just hold in place with a glue dot. So I'm going to grab my glue dots. I'm going to put one on the top and the bottom to hold that in place. That's just going to slip right under there. Just kind of position that the way I want it. And then the only other thing I have to do to finish my card is to take my little thank you, and I'll attach that with glue dots as well. Let's put one on each end. And that's going to just go right there, about like that. Okay. So there is my card number 2. And then I wanted to show you, so I love these slimline cards. Let me open it up. And I think this is just a really fun way to, like I said, to use up your scraps. This will fit in a size 9 business envelope, so it's not quite as big as a standard size business envelope, but you can find the size 9 at different, like office supply stores, that kind of thing. But I decided I would make my own envelope. So let me show you how I did that. I'm going to start, let me get some of this cleaned up out of the way here a moment. So I'm going to go ahead and start with my paper trimmer. And I picked this pattern because it really is non-directional, so then I don't have to worry about that. So I'm going to start, and I'm going to trim this, pull out my arm here. So I'm going to trim this at 11 inches, which means I'm cutting an inch off. So that'll be right there. I'll just hold that in place. Cut that off. And then I'm going to turn my paper and cut it at 8.5. So it's 8.5 by 11. Okay. Now I'm going to leave my cutting blade down here, and I'm going to use my scoring blade. And so on the long side, which is the 11-inch length, I'm going to score it at 2.5. And I don't want to use this darker blade is going to cut it, but so I'm going to go up here and reach for my lighter gray, which is the scoring blade. So I've scored it at 2.5, and I'm going to also score it at 6.5. And then I'll turn it, and on the short side, I'm going to score it at 1.5. And 10.5. And that's all there is to that. And like I said, if you visit my blog, lauramilligan.com, I will have all these directions and measurements up tomorrow. I'm not sure that I'll get to it today, but all right. And then first thing I want to do is just take my bone folder and score on all the score lines, just so that I get a nice crisp fold. It actually folds up and scores pretty easily. Okay, and then there's this one here. And then down at this end, this is our little flap. Okay. Now we need to just trim out a little excess from this. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut out all the corners. So it's going to be that. There's 4 of them. That one. There's 2 small ones at the bottom. Hi Paula, how are you? Colleen had a question. Love the size of the card and the DSP you used. Yeah, it's fun, you know, and I think these slimline cards are all the rage right now, and I have made a couple of them, and I just can't get enough of them, and it is fun. It's fun to just switch it up and do something different and not always make the same size card every time. And it's also fun to make a really pretty envelope. Okay, so I'm gonna cut all these out. Okay, then what I want to do with the flaps is just angle each of them, because it's going to help it lie flatter and fold, I guess, fold together better. And I'm just eyeballing this. I'm just cutting from the one end over to the score line. And I'll do the same thing down here on this end. I think it's easier to see on the green side of the paper, the mint macaron side. It's going to do that. And then what I found, see, now I have more scraps that I can use for this. Then what I found too is if you angle this a little bit, just a touch, that's going to help it lie better as well. Okay. And I think I'll do the same thing here, just a titch. You all know what a titch is, right? Just a titch. Okay. So you can see how this is all going to fold together like that. And so I'm going to do, you could use your liquid glue. I'm going to use tear and tape, especially because I'd like to mail this to someone, and you want to be sure that it's real secure. So I'm going to take my tear and tape and go along. This is the wider of the 2 flaps. I'm going to go along that, like that. And go ahead and pull the backing off. Oops. So we'll go ahead and close that. And then I'm also going to use tear and tape on this bottom flap. You could also round the corners, but I kind of like these angled edges. I think they're cute. Like I said, it doesn't take much to get me excited. I just think it's so cute. All right, and pull this off and secure that really well. And then I would go ahead and put a piece of tear and tape on this, but I won't close it obviously until I put my card in there. But here is, look at the beautiful envelope, and let me bring the card in again. Who wouldn't want to get that, right? Oh, and you know what I forgot too? We have to add our bling. My friend Lucy would not forgive me if I made this card without any bling. So I'm gonna use my take your pick tool and add, these are the gilded gems. So I'm going to just pick up 3 of these and put them in the center of the flowers. Have to have our bling, right? And then I'm going to take another one. These are the smaller ones. I'm going to put that one, I think, just maybe right there. Just like that. All right. So there is that card. And again, I just think it's really so pretty. Great way to use your scraps. Let me put that here. And then here's another envelope that I made out of this same paper. And again, it's non-directional, so I think it works really well with this card. And let me bring in the other one if it has not been buried alive, which maybe it has. No, here it is. There's the other card. So there's my 2 cards. Be sure to leave a comment. Hi, Brandy. Be sure to leave a comment. And if you want to share this, I would be grateful for that as well. If you need to email me, here's my email address. Please visit my blog at lauramilligan.com. And like I said, tomorrow I will have a post with these cards and how I made them, a printed tutorial so that you can duplicate this and you'll have all the measurements. So thank you all for joining me today. Brandy, you got here just in time for me to say goodbye, but you'll have to watch the replay. Oh, and you know what, I should mention that too. If you're watching the replay, please leave a comment replay so that I know, and you'll be entered as I pull a winner for this card, both of these cards. So thank you so much for joining me. And as always, I hope you have time to be creative today. Bye-bye, everybody.